Hi, and welcome to Storytime with Analisa from Under Your Sink, where we look at some events in history that have some lasting importance on the way we use and make our cleaning products today. And today we're going to talk about Nicolas Leblanc. This poor bugger is actually a genius, and he created a process in which we can make washing soda, which is still in use today, believe it or not. But let's talk about Nicolas and his poor life. See, what happened in the late 1700s, 1793, the French king decided to put, and the Science Centre decided to put out a prize for somebody that could create a process to turn sea salt into alkali. Now, alkali is washing soda, borax, caustic soda, an alkali ingredient that produces soap and glass and things like that, a commodity that was in high demand back then. And the only way they could get washing soda was naturally harvested in certain deposits in the world, so they had to import it. France couldn't necessarily produce it naturally. So they put out a prize for a scientist to come up with a process in order to make this. Now, Nicolas Leblanc, he was a genius, and he got some backing, and he was able to come up with a process which was called the Leblanc process. And he ended up winning the competition, and he was given a factory and backing and things like that to keep developing and processing this. He worked so hard on it. It took him about 8 years to do it. So this poor bugger, originally starting out as a physician to try and help as a doctor, ended up moving over to this area into science and devoted his life to it. And then basically the French Revolution came along. They did not give him the prize money, they confiscated his factory, and then they exposed his patent. They made his patent public, his process public information. This was later exploited by a whole bunch of entrepreneurs and chemists alike. And the poor bugger, Mat Leblanc, ended up popping himself in 1806. So that's a terrible story of a genius that created something that was later exploited by somebody of the likes of Solvay. Now, I'll get his full name. It is Edward Solvay. Now, Solvay is still around today. He used Leblanc's process, refined it. He doesn't have a clue about science himself. He just paid people because he came from money. So Solvay paid people to work on Leblanc's process, and he came up with the ultimate solution. And Solvay earned, what are the figures here? 10.3 billion euros in 2018. Now, I don't think Solvay should actually get credit for the process. It was Leblanc's process. But to be honest, neither process is eco-friendly, something they probably didn't or were not concerned about back then. It uses sulfuric acid, which releases ammonia and waste into our waterways. So now with our global operations in the world and the way that we can work with countries like America to get our natural washing soda, that's the way we should do it. So there we have it, Paul Leblanc and washing soda.